It's not something I'll like force. I want it to come naturally. I wanted to make sure like I'm not forcing my body into a spot where I go too hard and I get injured.
It's a bird.
It's a plane!
It's the Greek guys.
Everybody, welcome to the Group Guys Network. I'm Dr. Aaron. Today we have another very special guest, JP Flavin, American long distance runner, personal best of 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 18 seconds. JP, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, JP, we're really excited to have you on and learn all about your running career, where it started, and where it's headed.
Yeah, so we always have to start off with a softball. How did you start running and how did it get you to where you are today?
Yeah, so grew up in Toms River, New Jersey. Um, Growing up, basically liked doing the fun sports like baseball and basketball, but needed a sport to do in the fall. So I took up cross country. Naturally, freshman year of high school, I joined the team. Was varsity my freshman year, so kind of realized that spring was like, well, I'm kind of too small to be varsity in basketball and baseball my freshman year, but I can be a varsity runner, and that's much cooler to me. So I'll do that. So kind of went full on there from freshman year, and kind of have just blossomed. Went to college. I started off at University of Dayton, transferred to NC State, and now I'm a pro. So it's pretty cool.
So
When you
I guess-
first started running, JP, did you have we of course all have those aspirations in our sports to hit that pro level. So I'm guessing you had those aspirations.
I mean, I would say no. Like it's kind of like grown as I've like progressed. Like the aspirations have grown. Like I remember like freshman sophomore year of high school, like thinking like it'd be so cool to run in college, and then like I got to do that, and then it's like sophomore junior year of college, and I'm thinking like it would be so cool to make the Olympic trials, and now I don't really like care. Making the Olympic trials is no longer like really a goal of mine. It's more so I want to compete at the front of the Olympic trials. So it's kind of grown as I've gone on.
Yeah, that was an awesome achievement that you had. Was I saw that you qualified for the Olympic trials. So to continue to push yourself seems to be working for you. You know, every goal that you set for your running career, you seem to be hitting. So that's honestly awesome, man.
Yeah, so cross country, I guess in high school is a little bit shorter distances, if I'm correct, right? Like a 5K?
Yeah. So high school is typically 5K, and then like in college, it's 8K, which is 5 miles, and then 10K, which is 6.2.
Mm-hmm.
I have trouble running 1 mile.
It's fair.
How did you get from those distances to marathon running?
Just always kind of knew like the marathon was in my future. Growing up, my favorite practice was always like our long run of the week. That was always like the most fun. It felt always the most natural for me. I knew towards the end of my collegiate career, I was like, I don't really have much of a future in the pros as like a track guy. It was like, but I think like my best shot is probably at the marathon, and it's kind of been a process, but it's worked out. And I've so far so good in marathons, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say 2 hours and 9 minutes for a marathon is pretty speedy.
Yeah.
Not something
JP, do you still have I'm sure just because I grew up with JP and I knew a lot of members on his track team in high school. Do you still think about how terrible Homedale Park was when you were training there?
I think that's paid. Yes, I think about it all the time. I think that's really done a great deal for me along the line. I think I'm so like I'm better at hills and hillier like marathons. I think because of Homedale, because we've just trained on hills like my entire life. So those practices sucked, but I'm very grateful for those days.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I just remember whenever we would all hang out, you guys would always say like, "Oh yeah, Homedale drives us crazy. Those hills are terrible." And I took a walk in that park, and I was like, "Yeah, I can see why this wouldn't be fun to do." But I can see why it pays off in the future for sure. Because I mean, look at you now, especially the marathons that you're running, and you're running in a lot of the major marathons. Boston, I saw that you were in that one. You've done that one twice now.
Yes, twice. Yep.
That's awesome.
So when was the first marathon? So like still in college, still in high school, or after all of that?
So it was the first fall after college. So I was in it was I did Chicago Marathon in 2022.
Hmm.
So that I left NC State after my fall semester. So I was a pro for around 8 or 9 months before I did a marathon.
Now, how did that journey from the collegiate level to the pro level happen for you? Like, were you approached out of college when you were coming out of college to join this pro team? Like, what did that process look like for you?
So it was kind of like I didn't really have like teams coming to me or brands coming to me. It was kind of more so like I had to reach out on my own just because of like how good I was in college. I was good but not great. I wasn't winning like all Americans or anything like that. So I ended up reaching out to Kevin Hanson, my coach here at Hanson-Brooks Original Distance project, and I went on like a recruiting visit, almost like how you would for like college. So I got to meet the team, see the area because the team is based in Michigan, and I was in Raleigh at the time. So met them, met the coaches. They took me to like where they run every day. Saw that it was kind of my only option to run pro, but I knew it was gonna be a good fit anyway. So I joined, and I've been here for almost 5 years now.
So I guess I honestly don't know a lot about being on a professional running team, but what does the day to day look like? What do you do? I guess training wise, eating wise. That's a long answered question, but give
Dive
us a
in.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning, JP, and what do we do?
So I'm waking up, I'm drinking coffee, I'm drinking water, doing the things that every runner does for the most part. Like so, all just kind of like a typical day in the thick of my marathon build. So I'll wake up at like 6:30 for an 8 a.m. run, coffee. I'll do like let's say 12 to 14 miles in the morning. I also work part time. I work in accounting for a local school here. So I'll run at 8, be done by like 9:30 hopefully. I go to work at 11. I'm there until 5. I'll run from the school. I'll do like 6 miles in the after work, and then I'll go home. I'll eat dinner. I'll probably be exhausted. I'll crash. Try to get like 7 hours hopefully, depending on how the day is going. 7 to 8 hours, and I'll do it again the next day. So it's pretty it's pretty tiring, but it's I think keeping myself busy helps, I would say. I think if I have too much time on my hand and I'm not doing anything, like if I wasn't working during the day, I think I think about running too much, and it's nice having a distraction, I'd say, from running.
yeah. So is there any benefit from doing the 2 sessions a day, like 2 running sessions a day, or is it just sort of like it works out like that? Like it's just the best for you.
I'd say it's like a pretty common practice. Like it's just an easier way to like sneak in more miles. Like I won't do that. I won't run twice a day, every day a week. I would say like the most I'll do is 4 to 5 times a week, but that's usually only when I'm doing marathons. Like if I'm not, I'll only probably do like 2 or 3 for all run. But it's a good way to sneak in like an extra like it's extra fitness, I'd say. I think those days kind of help build your body and help get your legs strong.
Yeah, like keep your body moving, keep it as strong
Mhm.
as you possibly can.
Especially when you're doing things at at your professional level. It's important that you keep all of that firing for you, keep everything primed and ready. So getting any mileage in that you can is definitely more beneficial for you.
Mhm.
Yeah, so like of course for training, the amount of miles you do per week is going to progress as you go. How would you decide like how the progression is? Like if you're going to increase, like do you ever decrease, or is it pretty much just steady up?
Yeah, so like it's kind of grown out throughout the years, I would say, as I've been a pro. Like for example, like the first marathon I did, I probably topped out at 125 miles a week, and I only did like 1 week of that. And then you kind of the last 4 weeks you kind of taper down, and like the week before you probably do like 80 miles a week, which is compared to 120 like nothing. But this past marathon I ran, I did 4 weeks of 130 miles plus, which was like the most I've ever done. It was pretty exhausting. I was like almost like I was like a walking corpse at that point. It was just like eat anything you can in sight. And then I did those 4 weeks. That was like the peak of the mileage, I'd say. And then after that, I started then it was like 125, 110, 90, and then like at 80, and then it's the race. So it helps like coming down because your body feels so much alive compared to when you're doing like your peak mileage, I'd say. You also have to kind of like teach your body how to handle that kind of mileage too, which is like a pretty big part.
Yeah, like me or Tom could probably handle like 5 miles a week. Maybe.
Yeah, and honestly, it sounds sad. That would be a lot for me. Now I really need to up my cardio. Honestly, I go for a lot of like walks in the neighborhood, I would say, which is like, my cardio. I'm on my feet working all day. Like, so I'm making excuses.
So I haven't said this in a while in our podcast, but I used to say it all the time. But I'm doing a Spartan race this year, and I did one last year too.
We're back. You're doing it again? Is it round 2? Wait, hang on. JP, there was a running thing that Aaron would try to recruit me on a Spartan race team for like the last like 6 months before leading up to. What day is this one, Aaron?
July 11th.
All right, I should have no excuse. Send me the details. I don't look at it this time. I dodged him the last time. But anyway, back to JP. It's more important than the Spartan race.
But the reason I bring up the Spartan race is not just to bring up the Spartan race, but it's very hilly. And like basically it's in the Poconos. You go up a mountain, you come back down 2 or 3 times. And there's no hills by my house, so my training so far has been going up and down my stairs as long as I can. Not really as long as I can. And then I'll add other stuff. Like I have some buckets that you have to carry up the stairs and like a sandbag. So it's like a goofy little thing. Yeah, that I do. And now I completely lost my train of thought on why I actually brought that up.
We're talking about the mileage that JP does compared to the mileage that we do.
Oh yes, it is not. It's not that much when it comes down to it.
No. Definitely not. JP, what are the upcoming races? What's the next race? I know we just ran the 209.18. I feel like every athlete is like, okay, awesome, feel good about that. What am I working towards next?
Yeah, so like usually that's how how I've been after every marathon. It's like I'm pretty hungry. Like what's next on the plate, and I kind of don't have that right now, which is nice. It's like, okay, I know I got, that means like you kind of got everything you could out of yourself. Like I'm not really itching to do another marathon this spring. So right now I'm gonna probably this spring I'll focus on some shorter stuff. I'm not really sure what's on the table yet. I'm actually racing a mile next weekend in Bermuda as like a vacation / race, so that'll be fun. I'll get my ass kicked, but it'll be fun. I'm there for the.
What's your mile time?
I haven't run a mile since not high school, since college, and I think I ran like a 4:10, which is like now that like, and I'm probably slower now. Like if I ran anything faster, because I won't be very fit. I haven't really been running much because I've been kind of taking a break. Like if I run anything faster than like 4:30, I'd be super surprised and super happy with it. But we'll see how it goes.
I think you could do it.
Well, yeah, I have no idea.
Do you think you would ever like go the opposite and try to do like an ultra marathon?
No, I think those are crazy. I can't do that stuff. Those guys have to like. Oh, that's like. There's so much. Like the marathon is so long. There's so much time to think. The ultras are like forever. Compared like. I just know I just have to like sprint and be done. Kind of like those guys. Like respect. I don't have any interest in doing those.
Yeah, I feel like they're gaining in popularity, which is surprising because it is such a long and aggressive race. And I already think the marathon is long and aggressive. I'm in the same boat as you, JP. So to see that people want to do more after that, it's crazy. Props to them. But props to you for doing the marathon, especially at the speed and time that you're doing it. I can't even guess what my time would be for a marathon.
Yeah, I think that it's like it's funny because to like 95% of people, a marathon is pretty crazy too. And like you talk to a bunch of people about it and starts being, oh, that sounds a lot more achievable. It sounds like something you could do. But yeah, I probably will never do one. But no, maybe the glute guys will hit a
Never
marathon
say
one
never.
year. It might take us
Now
a
we're gonna
while.
have to just because you said that.
Yeah, of course. Now, as you've been the pro through all this experience, how has your training changed as you've, I guess, progressed as a runner?
Yeah, so it's kind of like gotten like I've just incorporated like faster speeds now that I know I can handle the mileage. Like, I probably won't go up much more in mileage anytime soon. I'll probably stay around the same, but now it was like I know my body can handle it. So like rather than being too scared about going too fast, like now I can kind of push and pick it up a little bit. So like instead of averaging like 6:15 pace every day for like my normal days, like maybe I could average like 6:10. And it's not something I'll like force. I want it to come naturally. I wanted to make sure like I'm not forcing my body into a spot where I go too hard and I get injured. So kind of just knowing at this point, it's just more so listening to my body, not pushing anything too hard. I know what I can handle, and it's more so pushing myself on the workout days where I can really make big jumps in fitness, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. So if you're a new runner and you want to, get into this stuff, I guess it's a little bit harder to listen to your body, or do you think it's just like, you see, like, is there a pain? Is there something going on like that? Or is it
For
maybe a
sure.
little
I mean,
different?
yeah, so even when I just took like 10 days off in the first like couple days back, it's like I just averaged 4:54 for a marathon, and now like I can't like doing 6 miles at like 7-minute pace. I'm like I feel terrible. It's very natural for like the first couple of times, especially if you're a new runner. You're like everything feels wrong, everything feels terrible. Like I can't do this. There's something wrong with my body, but it's like important to stick with it. I'd say like the first week of running is probably the hardest, especially if you haven't been running for a while. It's going to be the hardest, and then eventually, maybe even longer. Maybe be like it's. I don't want to say like week 2 or week 3 is like where you'll be like, oh, it feels like more comfortable, more natural, but it will come around, which is it's easier to say than do. It's like I'm even telling myself right now. It's like each day I'm like, hopefully I'm closer to where like it just doesn't feel like I'm dying every step. But that's running for you. That's how it goes.
I always hear runners say that, like, and you probably agree with it, that running, there's also a giant mental component to it, especially with like the marathon races and those long distance races. There's a big mental component that you have to kind of push past to see that kind of progress that you want to achieve too.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it
Hey,
seems
it's
like.
half the marathons.
Oh, sorry, you go,
Half the
JP.
marathons just yeah, half the marathon's just turning off the brain, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the biggest things that you're sort of getting at too is just being consistent, and that can carry over to really any sport too. Just consistency, doing it every day, building, 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 resting a little bit too if you need to. Uh, but no one's going to
Recovery
get
is
better
always
if you're not
important.
consistent. Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, JP, you're on a podcast with two physical therapists, so this question has to come up because we're always curious about it too. Every sport, every athlete at some point, and of course has to deal with injuries. Have you dealt with injuries with running so far? And if you have, like, what did they teach you as you're with your training and in your progress?
So like the only really injury like long term I've had was I tore my plantar in the fall of 2019 when I was at NC State, and that was pretty brutal. The plantar is like a tricky one, especially like the foot is like I've had some stuff like nothing terrible where I'm missing like months at a time, but I had to take 2 or 3 days off for like a sore hamstring, a sore like calf, something like that. But the foot is a different beast. The foot is a tricky one that scares the hell out of me still. Like if I feel a couple like a foot pain, like that's what makes me nervous. Like if I have a little hamstring thing, I was like, I just like I'll go to my PT. I'll do the Theragun to death. I'll massage it. I'll ice it, everything. But the plantar scared me pretty big. I was out for probably like 2 or 3 months. coming back was not fun. It was still kind of there. Like the plantar kind of doesn't really go away. Like you kind of still feel it. Or like I felt like was feeling for like a year, but kind of taught me patience. That you do have to listen to your body. Like if you push it too hard, it will, like a plantar, it will snap. Like you have to like listen and pay attention, or else like you're gonna be sitting on the couch and there's no worse feeling as a runner than missing out on races that you want to do because of an injury.
All right. Now, did you while you were running, you felt that snap happen and that tear moment, or was it something that was gradual for you?
It was definitely gradual, and it was like because it was in the middle of a cross country season, so we were trying to treat it while still training, and it was more. I was like kind of getting through it, kind of not, and then I do remember like it was actually during a race. I just remember like maybe mile 2 or 3 of like a 10K, like in cross country spikes, which have like no protection. They're pretty brutal for your feet in general, especially when you have something that's not feeling good. I just remember like feeling like it's like I can't run anymore. Like it felt like I felt the snap, and I kind of had to step off, and that was pretty brutal. But it was something that was like ongoing for a couple weeks that I was trying to beat it to a little extent, but and the planner won.
So I guess speaking
Yeah.
of footwear, how is, I guess, cross country footwear different from marathon footwear?
Yeah, so cross country is like pretty minimal. There's like very little protection from you in the ground. They're like cross country spikes tend to be like super light, maybe like 4 ounces or so. Probably even less actually now that I think about it. And then like marathon shoes have changed drastically just in the past couple of years. Now they're like gigantic, and they have like these foams that are super. They're still light, but they like kind of gain like 2 inches in height. Like I kind of look like a giant when I wear them, and they look very funny. But there's a lot more protection between you and the ground, and you're kind of the way they build them now is like there's a lot of foam that kind of bounces back for you, so you kind of don't lose as much energy as you would in like a cross country spike where you're like each step is like a lot of pounding, if that makes any sense.
No, definitely. We always talk about, I mean, at least in my clinic, I talk a lot about footwear, and I never like say a specific brand or anything. I just always say that you want to find something that's comfortable, especially if you're running on the concrete, because that hard surface and that pounding over time and the repetitiveness, if you don't have something that's cushioning it, I mean, you felt it with the plantar fascia. It will take a beating, it will catch up with it, and something like that can happen. So footwear is definitely something that's big in, even the rehab setting where we talk about it.
Do you think that that cushion you get in the marathon shoes would benefit cross country shoes?
No, because you kind of have to take the risk, especially because cross country's on grass, so like heavy, like wet on grass, like your shoes, like you kind of need it. It's kind of you kind of just have to like suck it up and just wear like the minimal stuff. It's not, and you just kind of hope you make it out. You just survive. You face less likelihood to get hurt, but then you lose like that benefit you need to run fast. So it's kind of like you gotta take what you can get, and speed kind of matters more than health to a certain degree in cross country, which is tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said, the uneven surfaces in cross country, being on grass, you never know if there's a little ditch or something on the path. You got to be, I guess, extra careful with that too.
That can definitely be a factor for sure.
Yeah, so I guess like being on a professional club, they give you shoes and equipment, like all that stuff that you would need.
Yeah, so my team is sponsored by Brooks, so I've been wearing Brooks since I've been a pro, and I've had like no issues with them. Their shoes have been great. I'm running the Adrenaline GTSs. They're probably one of the more cushiony shoes that I've been fairly healthy in. I probably don't need to stay in that like supportive of a shoe, but I haven't had any issues, so I don't really know why I would change it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
If it's
something I
working.
think that's really paid off. Like, why don't need to find something else to dance with if you know which one is working for you.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
You know it's working for you. It's good for you. We haven't had problems with it, so there's no reason to switch it up. And it's funny. going back to like inside the clinic, when patients do ask me and they're like, hey, like, do you have a brand you'd recommend? I actually do recommend Brooks as one of the, like the top ones, just because I know like the technology and the research that they put into their shoe is a overall good shoe. So it's like them and On Cloud. I tend to recommend them pretty often too.
Yeah.
Are there any things, I guess, for new or experienced runners you see that are big mistakes that people make all the time? Or if you're watching YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff, do you see any like fads that sort of grind your gears? You're like, people need to stop doing this.
I mean, yeah, there's a bunch. Yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch that I can't really think of off the top of my head. I mean, the marathon's getting pretty popular among like just the general population. I feel like running kind of boomed like the past couple years. So I'll see like a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, I don't really understand. I mean, a lot of people kind of train for a marathon and undertrain for it. So I would say like one thing that I've talked about before is that like the marathon deserves respect, and like, and if you don't respect it, then you will pay the price, I'd say. So like you can sign up for a marathon and then kind of like push it off and be like, well, I'll train for it when I get there. And then if you don't, it's going to be a rough day and you're going to resent it. So I would say like, I mean, there's plenty of trends, but just kind of, if you're going to sign up for something, I would say train for it. Kind of something I would just advise.
Yeah, and like
Especially something like that. That's something that requires focus, discipline, the appropriate training. Because, like you said, when you show up, if you're not in shape and ready for that, you might not finish that race. The time's going to look terrible. You actually also risk injury doing it too. Like if you're not ready for it, and you know, it's like if I got on the bench and attempted to bench press like 405 pounds and I didn't train for it over time, I'm going to get myself hurt.
Yeah, that's a lot like one of my buddies who we had on the podcast for, Asante. He has a run club in North Jersey. And he told us like one of the first marathons he did, he actually did an ultra marathon too, was miserable because he didn't train for it at all. And like he said, it was just not a great experience just because his body wasn't ready for it. So everything was hurting. There was something in particular he told me that was really bad, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. But like it sounds simple what you're saying too, but it really is the most important thing. You just have to actually train for it if you're going to do it, or else it's not going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
So looking at, you know, I did a little research into the team, and I was curious with your guys' training. I'm assuming they put you through a training like regimen. Does your training regimen kind of adhere closely to Hanson's method that he established? Is that the method that you guys follow, that high mileage training?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a little different for us than versus like the way he'll like, 'cause he's written a couple books about it, that it kind of differs for like if you buy the book or if you like pay for his training. It's a little bit more advanced for us just because it's also our jobs. Like we have more time and like we're kind of like built for it, I'd say. So it's a little bit more mileage. So like I said, like we like on average, like for marathons we peak at like 130, and then like for if I'm training for like a half marathon, I'll probably like average like 105, 110 miles a week at faster pace. But like if the Hanson's method has like also similar workouts, like it's not like, I don't know if that's a trend too, is like these threshold workouts and knowing like all of these like statistics and like your VO2 max. Like we kind of don't really rely on that. It's kind of more so learning and understanding a pace and kind of having a feel for it. So you're not going in just thinking about, well, all my metrics say this. It's kind of more so is like, I kind of know, I'll feel like I can run this pace and then I'm going to go do it. And I think that's kind of something that I've really enjoyed, is like, I don't have to think about science. I don't have to think. I love math, but I don't want to think about math. It's like, I know this pace feels easy to me. I can do it for 26 miles, and that's kind of the Hanson's method.
I love that, and I love the fact that you just brought up VO2 max, because Aaron and I recently like had talked about some of the fads with it. It's like that is one that you're commonly starting to see online now, as people trying to figure out their VO2 max. It's like it's cool. It serves a purpose. It's a good metric to take a look at, but it's not something that, needs to be constantly monitored, especially if you're in shape and you're exercising at the level that you are. Those numbers for you, JP, they're probably going to be awesome numbers. And while training, it's not a number that needs to be monitored closely. It's more so for you is going to go based off of that feel. So sometimes science can kind of meddle its hands too far into those training aspects. So I'm happy to hear that, that's not what's going on for you guys, and it's producing then a great product. So that's awesome.
Do you think, like, going back to a new runner, knowing your VO2 max would benefit a newer runner, or you think still going like what you're saying, sort of feeling out your body and how it's moving?
I would say I don't really think it's that important. Like, unless you truly have an understanding of what that VO2 max means for you and then how you can apply it, I would say it's kind of useless. Like, I know my watch tells me my VO2 max is like 79, but I was like, I don't really know what that means. I just know it's a number. I don't really know like what that like versus like 78. It's like, all right, what is that? Like, doesn't mean much, but and it's like if your VO2 max is telling you one thing and then you go out on a run and like you can't do it, then like why do we have to listen to that number? It's like I would say just listen to your head and your legs and just run what feels normal and comfortable where you can do it for 20-30 minutes without having to stop like 3 or 4 times with your hands on your knees. I think that's probably the best bet for a new runner.
Yeah, so more go maybe at a slower pace that you're able to maintain instead of burning yourself out in the first 5 minutes or maybe first 30 seconds, depending on who you are.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Now,
I'm not sure if you have you probably met other athletes on other pro teams. Did you guys ever discuss what like their training methods look like compared to Hanson's? Maybe like if there's a comparison?
Yeah, I mean it's very like different. Like the common thing for most marathon groups and like marathon runners, like at the pro level, a lot of them live in altitude at like Flagstaff or Boulder, to kind of get that like extra benefit. But we don't really do that. And I've lived in Boulder for a couple summers. It's an awesome place, but I don't really kind of have to train slower to like adjust for the altitude. So that's kind of a huge difference that I'm not really sure I would want to like adjust to now because you kind of have to learn how your body deals with that. That's like a whole nother factor. So that's a big difference in what it is. And the way like the Hanson's method is, at least the way we like kind of do it compared to other marathoners, is that our easy runs are a lot faster than most other guys. Like, so I'll say on average, if it's like a normal day outside with good weather, I'd say we average around 6:15, 6:20 for like a normal easy run. And we're talking, joking the entire time. But like most other pro marathoners are probably running like around like 6:50 to 7 minute pace, which is kind of a big difference. And that's a lot of other pro marathoners will kind of say to be like, you guys are insane with how hard you run every day, but it's kind of something that we can do because we're not at altitude. We don't have to run. We don't have to recover as much as most other pro marathoners do. If that makes sense.
yeah, it does.
No, without a doubt.
Yeah, higher altitude, don't breathe as well. So it makes sense that you're able to train at higher intensity. And it also makes sense on why that'd be beneficial too, because you're not necessarily going to do the races at these high altitudes. Although it might help with lung capacity or things like that, it sort of makes sense to me to train where you're going to run so your body's already used to it.
I was going to even say, like, I feel like even with that training at the high altitude, it's momentary. Your body adjusts as soon as you're out of that altitude. So you really have to be like, living there and training there. And that takes time to adapt. And how do those numbers really transfer? That's where science can kind of come in and be like, does it really make an incredible amount of difference? But who knows?
Yeah,
it's tricky, but I understand it and I respect it, but I just understand like I don't need that for me to work.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, JP, we were talking about the Nuggets earlier, the basketball team. But of course, they go in and out of the city for different games. And I was watching, I don't know if it was a podcast clip or something, and they were talking about how, although like when other teams come there, they feel the altitude, if they're on like an away game stand, whatever it is, going to a bunch of away games, and they come back home, they also feel the altitude too. So, Tom, to your point, there probably is a benefit, but you're still going to feel the effects of altitude regardless if you go someplace else at a lower altitude too. Now, I guess getting into a little bit of longevity stuff. What do you think is the best way? Because you've had a long career as a runner, to maintain it, to make it so you can do this for years and years instead of having to cut it short after like a fast prime.
Yeah, basically, how do you take care of yourself to maintain that?
Yeah, I would say a lot of it's like as much as it is body, is just mental. Is like you can't. I think a lot of it's not wrapping your total 24/7 mentality around it because you're just going to be exhausted thinking about running, regardless whatever activity, whether it's lifting or like biking or anything like that. Like you will, like, I think finding like an escape like will burn yourself out. So I think like going like working in accounting is a good kind of distraction from running and kind of like makes me look forward back to like, well, I can run again now. Like now I'm not at my desk doing like Excel all day. Like it helps me look forward to running. I think that's played a big part of it. It's like because I don't necessarily have to work in accounting. I could probably be okay with just running, but I think if I'm just running, sitting on my couch all day, and then running again, I was like, I'll be bored. I'll be thinking about running all day. I was like, I don't think that's good for me. And then it's also just listening to your body, like knowing like if you're having like a hamstring or like a hip thing, like don't really unless you really, really have to and you're like a week out from your race, there's no point in trying to push through it and cause a bigger long-term problem because that'll just require you to take more time off. It's better to take 3 days off rather than to push through it and then you have to take 3 months off, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. To your point with the accounting, I love that because when we look at the like the professional level, like right now, like that is your job is to run and perform, and we all need that moment to kind of decompress from work and take your mind off of it. Like even me and Aaron as physical therapists, like we come home and like we try to find something else to take our mind off of it. I mean, we do the podcast, we talk about physical therapy, but it's kind of a way for us to decompress from it as well. It gives you something else to look forward to. So then when you go back to work to go to try to enjoy it, in your case, running, you're kind of set and primed and ready to continue that. So I like that mentality headspace with it.
So my wife is also an accountant, and I know for her, the busy seasons can get pretty intense. So do you find that there is any, I guess, conflict there with running in like the busy seasons of accounting?
So thankfully I'm not in like public accounting.
Okay.
I'm in like more like small business, so I avoid it. Busy that would stress me out. I mean, I've heard. I remember in college like them talking to us about like busy season, the hours, and I was like, I know that's not for me. I was like, I'll stay in accounting and for like small business, and I've enjoyed that. It's kind of you get to see like more of the everyday, but thankfully I don't have to do a busy season because that scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, we don't have
We
to
have
get into
a mutual friend, John, that we say goodbye to every December, and we tell him that we'll see him in April.
Yeah, yeah. We don't have to become an accounting podcast, but I was just sort of curious. Yeah, my wife works for one of the big four accounting firms, so you can imagine that. Yeah, a few times a year, she sort of just goes into her office, and you don't see her again for the rest of the week. But
no, that could happen for sure.
Just going into the future, like once you eventually retire, do you think you would keep on running? Do you think you would try new things, or what do you think the plan would be?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. It kind of depends. Like, there's a good chance that like I'll keep doing it for fun and I won't be like trying to be competitive. But there's also a good chance that like I'll be done. And I'm like, I don't really want to do it anymore. I've done it for. It's been like I've had to do it for every day or just about for like the past like 15 years or so. It's like maybe I won't. Um, I think I'd like to hope. I'd like to think that I'll still have a healthy relationship with running. Maybe I'll try to like get into like the gym more. Maybe I'll try to beef up because I am like a little bit of a toothpick. Try to look normal or something like that. But we'll see. That day isn't here yet, and hopefully I have a little while until I have to think about that too much.
Well, if you are a toothpick, you're highly efficient and very quick as well. So it's a pretty good toothpick to be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's where you're at right now, JP, serves the purpose of you being a marathon runner. You need to be this way, so this way you're gazelle like, you're literally flying through the air and performing at these high levels. Now, speaking of the strength training, we did want to kind of dive in and touch a little base on your strength training and see what are your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so I think I'm kind of unique in the sense that like I don't really do any strength training. That's certainly an unpopular opinion, or at least unpopular practice among like my team, among most like marathon runners. Like most people are hitting the gym a little bit, just doing like their squats, doing all this stuff, like kind of working on the mobility. I kind of don't. I kind of don't really. I'm sure I could squeeze it in, but I'm pretty exhausted with how like my everyday life goes as it is. So I kind of, and I haven't really had any issues with staying healthy. So I was like, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Yeah. Or I don't know if I screwed that up or not.
No,
But
you said it right.
I don't really. Yeah. Okay. So I don't really feel the need to do lifting, and I don't really lift or anything like that. And I also just don't really enjoy it that much. So like, why I don't really think I need to.
No, I mean, you can see your results, like what you're hitting with your training methods is working, and it's continuing to improve, and you're continuing to get faster. So, I mean, of course, it serves its purpose, but it doesn't mean everybody needs to be doing it. And if it's working for you, how it is now, then that this is just one of the ways to show that everybody's body is different. We're all human. We all got muscles and bones and joints and ligaments and all of that stuff, but everybody is different in what they need in their training. You don't need the strength training in your regimen, and it's been fine since you've been maintaining like these fast paces and quick races, but it doesn't fit your regimen.
Mhm.
Now, Aaron, we want to dive into some of the.
Yeah, I was trying to go a little bit into the longevity with the stuff before, like long term, how it could, I guess, affect your body. But I guess what you already talked about, sort of like once you're done, like with at least the running career and what you would do. Do you ever get nervous about like long term effects of running just all these miles on your body, or it's like, no, you're pretty good. You're doing what you want to do.
Um, Not really. I don't really think any. I don't. I haven't had any like lingering issues that have like, oh, like my hip's been bothering me for like years, anything like that. I've kind of avoided anything like that. I'm sure maybe I'll be by the time I'm done, I'll be kind of walking slow. But I'm not too worried about that. I mean, I'd like to think it's made like my heart and like just body like tough as nails. So I think I'm pretty good.
Yeah, and I actually agree with that too. I think like just the amount of moving your body is used to is probably for the best. Like our bodies are meant to move, and a majority of us, at least in the U.S., don't move as much as we need to. Um, and running miles and miles every week, even with off seasons, is a good way to keep the heart, the whole body, the muscles, everything strong.
Yeah, and some people are genetically disposed to be able to do certain things for longer periods of times or maintain certain levels of muscle mass, and it seems as though like genetically you were primed for this professional running career. I would like to be the biggest guy in the gym, but I know that some of genetics holds me back from that, and that's why that happens.
For sure.
But no, but seriously, like there is a gigantic role in what genetics plays in our fitness life.
Yeah, another thing that we were hoping to talk about too is actually just burnout. Like you were talking about before, JP, just the mental aspect of it. Is there anything that you do, or I guess you sort of said accounting is the way that you sort of get your mind off of everything. Is there anything else that you do to try to keep yourself consistent, keep yourself motivated?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of always refreshing your goals and kind of like taking a step back and being like, knowing what you want to achieve kind of helps stay on track, and like avoid burnout. I think that one big thing that we do here is that we take like 10 to 14 days off after a marathon, which is kind of more than other like pro marathoners. Usually it'll be like they'll do like 3 or 5. So we'll do 10 to 14. I think that kind of helps you truly like decompress, really lets the body like kind of catch up and recover from the marathon, and then you're able to get back into it.
And then how often or how many marathons would you run every year?
I'll do usually at most 2. I'll do maybe a spring and a fall. It kind of depends on how they go out. Like I just did one in December, so I won't do spring in 2026. I'll only do a fall one. But then in 2027, I'll probably do 2 again. I'll
Mhm.
probably do another spring and fall.
Yeah. So do you
That's
have like location in particular that you would like to do, or now it's more about, I guess, times, Olympic stuff, things along those lines?
I'm gonna tag in
Yeah,
on that
so
one really quick because I was looking before since you had qualified for the Olympics. I know that the next trials are I think in 2028. I don't know if that was something maybe you were looking at too.
yeah, the trials will be early 2028. So I'll have this year. I'll do a fall one. I'm not really sure yet because there's kind of some stuff I kind of have to figure out. Like I kind of have to think with like my coach and Brooks and try to plan which ones make sense for what I'm trying to achieve. I'm not really worried about running another huge PR. I kind of ran 209.18 is a great spot for me in terms of PR. I will see like how can I be more competitive within a field than if it's a race that requires me to run fast in 209.18. If it's like a fast course, then I'll go for it. But if most likely it'll be a marathon where it's maybe a slower course and there's kind of some more hills, and I would rather try to compete rather than thinking more so about like time. So it's kind of that aspect to it too. So I'm pretty set on my PR for now.
Yeah.
That's
So
so interesting to like think about because I feel like when a lot of people think about marathons, they think about the time. They don't consider the fact that like like you're running a race too. So there's different courses, there's different terrain that you're going to be up against. I hear your average everyday person talking about marathon and just focusing on the times, but the actual race aspect is just as important.
Mhm. For
yeah,
sure.
then on top of that too, I guess the other competitors, you sort of never know what people are going to do. Like we always see videos on YouTube with like the pack, and then there's like someone straggling out front or behind, and the I guess the benefits or negative of being all by yourself and sort of burning yourself out, or um, maybe just waiting too long to kick and really get yourself going. Um, is there anything you sort of think of as far as that, as far as the people that you're going against? Like, oh, this guy, I know he's gonna try to kick me in the heel or something like that, um, or anything along those lines.
And there's certainly the aspect of like I know most of the guys I'm racing against. I kind of know their strengths and weaknesses, but I also know that you can only control what you can control. Like for example, like I couldn't like when this past marathon, I knew like there was a couple guys ahead of me for around like 23 miles, and like I caught them and passed them to win. And I going into the race, I wasn't sure like what kind of shape they were in, but I knew like if I just ran my race and if I ran 209.18 and finished third, then that's fine. I mean, I can only have done what I could have. But so just kind of knowing like run your race and then the race will come to you, and then understanding going from there is like maybe you find another race within it is like okay, well now I'm doing great, but can I beat this guy ahead of me is kind of a big part of it as well.
Yeah, I guess like when you've trained as much as you have and you have so much time under your belt, you sort of know what you're capable of. And I'm sure sometimes you surprise yourself too. And sometimes, of course, disappoint. Hopefully, it's always a pleasant surprise, but life happens. So that was why,
Mhm.
like what you're saying makes sense. You sort of know what to expect with each race.
Now, what you had just mentioned for some reason, and that made me think of this offshoot question, and it's happening during the race. I mean, it's a long race. You're running alongside people. There's a lot of things going on. And you don't have to name names. This is purely just, I'm just curious. Are there like dirty marathon runners? Meaning like if you're running, like you, Aaron, you said kicking the heel. I'm like, wait a minute, does that stuff happen? Like you're running, like someone like nudges you or like hit, like, does that kind of stuff happen at the pro level? Like,
not intentionally. I mean, everyone's pretty friendly.
that's
There's
what
a
I
guy in the
figured.
past. Yeah, everyone's pretty chill for the most part. I'm sure there's a couple like jerks here and there and stuff like that, but like maybe they're not even meaning to be a jerk, and you're just like thinking like, all right, he's just annoying me. But for the
Yeah.
most part, everyone's pretty cool. Everyone's pretty friendly with each other. But there'll be like always like a couple times in a race, like someone's just like they keep like clipping you in the heel, and you're like, what? Like, stop it! What are you doing? Like, you're it's getting old. Like, please stop. Like, stuff like that is
Yeah.
always there.
You were going to mention there was some guy in the past. Like, was he just like notorious for something like
Yeah,
that?
I mean, this last race, he wasn't doing it intentionally, but he just kept like clipping me, and it was just someone said to me after the race like it was annoying them, and I was like, yeah, honestly, like he did it to me like maybe like even like 5 or 6 times in 1 mile, and I was just like, for some reason it wasn't pissing me off, and I was like, all right, I just kind of was like, well, maybe I need to pick it up. Like I was like, I need to just go faster just so he stops doing it.
Yeah, get you away from him so this way you don't have to worry about him being on your tail with all of that. So no, that's good too. So JP, right now you're still in your recovery from the last race.
Yeah, I'm like just like this is my first week running again, so
Okay.
pretty taking it pretty easy right now.
Gotcha. And I like your mentality of like, like you just hit this big PR, and in the past it would be like rush to the next thing, but you're kind of just taking a step back and figuring out, all right, what direction are we going into next? Because like you said, I mean, 209 is an incredible PR. That's something to be very proud of. So I think that you definitely got the right mindset to go forward and see what your career brings you next.
And
Maybe the
actually,
Olympics.
Sure.
one other thing I was just thinking too. Do you have a favorite story of your whole career? I know that's a big question.
From high school all the way up to pro.
Yep.
You can pick. We'll let you pick
Right.
anywhere.
There's so many stories that like sometimes like I won't see someone for a while and they'll like say a story to me and I was like, I totally forgot that happened. That is hilarious. I mean, like obviously winning this past one was like super cool, and my mom and my girlfriend were both there, and that was like incredible. It's hard to beat. Trying to think of something put on the spot. I've definitely had some funny ones too. I mean, one thing that I love to do is that like, so I was having a really bad race in this racing up north, New York, and I was just having like a shit day, and I was like, and there was a bunch of like pretty crowded, so I was just high-fiving a bunch of kids on the side on the streets because I was like, this sucks. So I was like, I may as well make this fun. So just like high-fiving kids and doing stuff like that. I was like, well, I thought I may as well make it fun for myself and for them if I'm gonna stink it up here. So stuff like that is always fun.
Yeah, that's.
I'm sure
sorta
the kids
cool.
went ballistic for that too.
Yeah.
And now they don't even know that. Well, I'm sure they do know. Not that they don't. They do know. They high fived a man who can run a marathon in 2 hours 9 minutes.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, we're actually coming up around like 55 minutes right now. JP, is there anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to talk about? Any other things before we start to wrap up?
I don't think I have anything in my mind. Just shout out Brooks.
Sounds good. Shout
We'll
out
tag Brooks too.
Yeah, there we go.
Tommy, anything else you're thinking here?
No, man, you covered everything on my end. I appreciate you coming on and taking time out of your day. I know you got a busy day in life over there, so it was awesome to see you and bring you on our show.
Sure. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you again. Thanks for coming on the podcast. And with that, everybody, have a nice night, and we'll see you again soon.